Hey all, here we're going to take a look at Pokemon Bank, which essentially is how you organize all your Pokemon. And here I'm going to show you I've started putting them in National Pokedex order, which is almost like a chore and a mini game. So let's take a look at it. They actually stopped doing the free trial on the Pokemon Bank when Omega Ruby and Sapphire was released, so now it's like $5 a year for 30 boxes or something that holds like 1,000 Pokemon. Here we go, let's boot it up. So Pokemon Bank, and we have our own professor, and we can press the start button. So as you can see, we're booting up. We're signing in, and the Wi-Fi has to be on for this. I got my tripod up and going. So yeah, we're gonna click to use the Pokemon Bank. And you have to have a cartridge inserted. So it can either be X, Y, Omega Ruby, or Omega Sapphire. But the software actually won't load and work unless you have a cartridge in your Game Boy, your Nintendo 3DS, when you're actually booting up the software. And the music sounds a little bit like elevator music. So sometimes I actually shut it off when I'm organizing. So here we can see it's loading up. Wow. So I took all of my Pokemon from X because I just beat that and I got to the end of the game and there wasn't a whole lot to do. So I kept my main party and took all the extras off and figured, oh, okay, I'll start organizing them and bringing them into Omega Ruby and Sapphire. You can choose Pokemiles or Battle Points. Again, you can't transfer items between games, so I just figured Pokemiles, there'd be more chances to redeem them, but that's really a personal choice that you can make. So yeah, this is essentially a bit of a nightmare. Here's that extra Beldum that I accidentally cloned into X, but yeah, it's called having multiple DSs and the Wi-Fi on at the same time. Anyway, you can see at the bottom screen, I've actually started to organize a lot of my Pokemon and move them into Omega Ruby. So you can see I've put them in National Pokedex order. We have Charmander, Squirtle, and pretty much everybody, like the original 151, and yeah, I think these are all original. And you can see the only thing that the software that kind of sucks is like you have to click to move a Pokemon. Like there's no drag and drop. So if I wanted to move this guy up here, I'd have to like physically move him up to the top screen and vice versa to move him to the bottom screen. I have to physically do it. And it's really kind of a chore, but at the same time, this is kind of a nice way to start organizing your Pokemon. And you can see I got some really good stuff in X and Wonder Trade. Like I'm already starting out with a Latias. So maybe I'll like finish Alpha Sapphire first before Omega Ruby because I already have a Latias. But I'm certainly going to start playing with my Latias because I think that's really cool that I have one. He's a level 30, so I need to get my gym badges up and stop making YouTube videos and actually play the game. As you can see, I put all my starters together. For whatever reason, people are breeding a lot of Froakies, and this is the Froakie that I got from Sana or Shauna in the US version for beating the game with my grass-type Pokemon. So that was pretty cool that she gave me a free Froakie, and hers is a level 5. And you could actually see, look here, this is the one that I got from Sana in my French playthrough of Pokemon X, because I beat X first. I'm playing Y in English, and I'm about 12 hours in, leveling everybody. I try to play with different Pokemon, so I'm like not constantly raising the same ones. So you can see I've started to put everybody in number order, but it's actually a bit of a chore and it's gonna take me a while. But we have a lot of boxes. I just wanted to show that off. Like, oh my gosh, look at all the boxes we have. So here's the 30 boxes that I have in, so I guess that means I can have 3,000 Pokemon in Omega Ruby. Quick math, 30 per box times, wow, I fail. And here on the top screen, you can see you can actually have 100 boxes and a transport box. I'm not really sure what that's for, in the official Pokemon bank. I'm not really sure if you have to go and like remove the HMs from the Pokemon and everything like that. I imagine you do, or you just can't use them until you get that HM. I'm not really sure how that part is working. I know there was a place in X and Y where you could forget moves and forget HMs. So anyway, this is just a quick overview of the Pokemon bank, and the good thing is I can organize the Pokemon here without it adding to my game time. And I can put in all my different cartridges regardless of which Game Boy that I've used. Like, see here, maybe I've played it on a different Game Boy. As long as I have, you know, the cartridge, then I can just put in the cartridge into this Game Boy, because I only have, you're only allowed to use the Pokemon Bank on the Game Boy that you bought the Pokemon Bank for. So, I mean, I'm using 3 Nintendo 3DS XLs and alternating between them, and because the game actually saves to the cartridge, it's actually worked out fine. I'm able to transfer all these Pokemon to the Pokemon Bank, and it's much easier than actually trading myself, because I did that a couple times and it was, you know, perversion exclusives like that that little fairy Pokemon guy that I couldn't get in one version in Y, and I think I got him in X, or vice versa. So yeah, it's really interesting. The Spritzy. So yeah, I mean the Spritzy, he was a version exclusive. And I traded myself for Spritzy and raised it a little bit, and then I got bored of it. So yeah, anyway, this is my tour of Pokemon Bank. It's very utilitarian. I mean, I think it's something that is very useful. Like, it should have been available for free, but it's not free anymore since Omega Ruby and Sapphire came out, and they know, like, people need this to keep track of all the Pokemon. I mean, you don't really need it, but I'm sure, I forgot to mention that the Poke Transporter also comes free with this. So I've downloaded that. I haven't finished back playing all the games that came out like before X and while I was like playing Final Fantasy and not playing Pokemon for a while. So yeah, I have a little bit of a backlog. But eventually I'll port everybody into the bank here. So I've started, you know, just trying to get everything in order, because it's kind of crazy. I keep getting like all these Machops and Wonder Trade and different Pokemon that I really just don't need like 20 of the same Pokemon. So this is a really good way to start putting them in order. And I do recommend using the National Pokédex order, and well, that's really all I can say about the Pokemon Bank. I mean, it's useful for organizing, and have it a go. I wish there was a free trial, but there's not anymore. So anyway, take care. Hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. Bye for now.